investments, tourism, trade, knowledge, information, science, technology, and diseases. We have two neighbors, Australia and Indonesia, who have been good friends to us. Both are democratic countries, and we share with them land and sea boundaries, airspace, and a long history that is both rich in what is positive and in negative, painful and liberating. The two countries are different. Indonesia, an Asian country with 240 million people, with the largest Islamic faith in the world, is still poor, though generously endowed with vast natural resources. A creative people, many are highly educated. Relations with our neighbor Indonesia are remarkably good, considering our shared history. I personally negotiated the land border agreement with Indonesia over the last 3 years that resulted in 99% of the border agreement. This nearly 100% agreement is the only border of this Indonesia's 7 borders that have been successfully negotiated, allowing our bilateral relations to reach a new height through confidence building, friendship and peace. And the pinnacle of this new bilateral relation was highlighted when His Excellency President Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono undertook a state visit to Timor-Leste after taking office as the new president of Indonesia in 2005. Thousands of people in a spontaneous reaction lined up along the streets to welcome the first directly elected president of Indonesia. In another area of nation building through international relations, Timor-Leste is now preparing to join the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. Timor-Leste is committed to consolidating existing friendly relations, harnessing goodwill and forging new friendship and potential trading partners. With Australia, we also have the best possible relations. In January 2006, the two governments signed an agreement to develop the oil and gas field underneath the Timor Sea in an area named Greater Sunrise. This agreement has been ratified by the two governments. The development of these fields will further bring revenues to Timor-Leste. We have developed good relations with the European Union, China, Japan, and other countries. Timor-Leste is the greatest recipient per capita of US external assistance in Southeast Asia. The United Nations, to which Timor-Leste is the 191st member state, is vital and indispensable for the entire world, for large and rich, for poor and small nations. The UN can give us a large space where our voice can be heard, and the UN can be sympathetic and neutral force to give us more power where we can negotiate with larger powers. The UN has been at the forefront of assisting us through our many conflicts and crises of the past, helping us to win our freedom, helping us to build our new nation. The United Nations is vital to us all, and especially to small countries like Timor-Leste. It has broken the chain of isolation. Democracy and human rights go hand in hand, and with this in mind, the Timor-Leste has decided to give back to the international community and has decided to run for a seat on the United Nations Human Rights Council in 2008. Since our independence, Timor-Leste has yet sought to be elected an international body. The Human Rights Council is of particular interest to us due to our difficult history, struggle for self-determination, international solidarity that Timor-Leste has benefited from. We can fall into the skills of being poor, developing country to the extent that we cannot safeguard our human rights and those of others. We are determined to show that democracy can thrive in a least developing country. A large part of Timor-Leste's struggle was fought on the human rights front, and Timor-Leste had been actively engaged in the human rights process. We were for so long beneficiaries of the human rights machinery, and now it is time for Timor-Leste to give back to the international community. It now falls upon us to reverberate our hard-won freedom through helping others safeguard their human rights and dignity in all of their practices. Timor-Leste takes its obligation and duties as part of the numerous conventions, as party to numerous conventions, treaties, and and treaties and has ratified all of the core human rights instruments. Despite of the recent crisis that set back in the process of nation building, the leadership and the people are uncompromised with the commitment to democracy, human rights, and Timor-Leste remains a vibrant and free society. Timor-Leste believes it has gained sufficient experience and benefits to share with the international community. The success of Timor-Leste is a consequence of good international partnership and cooperation. My country has a strong international commitment to strive for the highest standard of human rights around the world and believes that the establishment of a new Human Rights Council is crucial in the promotion and protection of these standards. I would like to conclude tonight. Tonight I have spoke about Timor-Leste's nation building through the themes of democracy and human rights in strengthening the justice sector, helping the poor, focusing on groups like veterans, youth and women, and international relations. Each theme overlaps with others and are by no means the only challenges we face in our post-conflict society. I hope I was able to share with you some of the ideas in the area of nation building as they are related to Timor-Leste. And I would like to conclude this talk with a call to action. We the Timorese never underestimate the power of students who opens his or her mind to gain knowledge. We can use the assistance of the students in this room to help share with other students the importance of international participation in promoting the universal values that exist in democracy and human rights. Before the politicians took our cause, it was won in the community centers, universities, churches, and millions of our own citizens that converge in support of our cause, for they share the belief of human dignity and justice. I would like to call each one of you to action and see if we could promote means and ways for Fairleigh Dickinson University to assist Timor-Leste or any other country or people in need. With its nation building, by inviting the Ambassadors Club of the United Nations and the Office of Global Learning to explore ideas on nation building through student exchanges, volunteer, and perhaps video conference between students and faculty with counterparts in Timor-Leste. And I'd like to recognize here tonight my American friend who is now working for our mission. She is now building an orphanage in Timor-Leste. I often tell her, say, Claudia, you might be one person is unknown in New York, but for these people in Timor-Leste that you are helping, you are everything to them. And I thank you so much for listening.
You are largely a Christian nation, with the Catholic Church being very, very strong. You are surrounded by many Muslim nations. So you might want to talk about religious relationships. My second is rather tied in. It says in your bio that you spent some time in Macau. And Macau has now outpaced Las Vegas as the gambling center of the world. I just wondered whether you ever thought that gaming, which is what we say we like gambling, gaming might come to Timor. There's the 5th floor of the hotel, which originally was built maybe for gaming purposes before the Catholic Church said no. Is that right?
But our first Prime Minister is a Muslim, and he might come back as Prime Minister again. So we don't have a problem to coexist with Muslims or any other race. As for the gaming, I think, Madam, we have too many problems in Timor-Leste at the moment, and we try to solve them, and we try not to introduce gaming yet in Timor-Leste.